starting Today we are starting discussing absolute value equations. Absolute value equations. So who can remind us what does the term absolute value mean? What does the term absolute value mean? Kylie. No, if I'm looking for if I want you to tell me what is the absolute value of 4, what are you going to tell me?
4.
4. What does that mean? How did you get that?
It's how many numbers it is away from the 0.
It's the distance a number is from 0. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. Would you tell Xavier what he's supposed to be doing? Absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. So if I were to ask for the absolute value of -3, how far is -3 from 0? 3. Absolute value is always positive because distance can never be negative. Okay. So knowing that term, we are going to take now and figure out the absolute value of an equation. So if I know the absolute value of -3 is 3, if I want to know what number is the absolute value equals 6, what numbers could I put in for 6? What could x be? It could be -6 or 6. So we're going to say x is 6, has the solution set of -6, 6. X has the solution set of -6 and 6. Okay? If I were to graph that on a number line, well, what does that look like? Well, on a number line, here's -7, -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1. Oops. Okay, so I know I have a point here, and if I were to keep going, where would my other point be?
0.
Where would my other point be?
6.
6. All right. So that is a very simple, basic terminology of an absolute value equation. These are very simple numbers. So if I had I'm going to give you some problems to do real quick with your neighbor. Very simple problems, real quick. Let's see. Where did I put those? Where was I? Where'd I go with those? Kyle, do you have a problem?
Oh, man.
Okay, I don't need to hear any more noise.
Sorry.
So if I were to ask you to do this for me, let's see. Tell me the solution sets to these equations. I want you to solve these by yourself real quick. Shouldn't take long. These should be no-brainers to you. Want to know the solution sets to these equations. right, so let's see what you got. So if I look up here at number 1, it said B, the absolute value of B is equal to 2, so that solution set we should know is negative 2, comma 2. We know that the solution set to number 2 should be negative 4, comma 4. We should know that the solution set to number 3 should be negative 1/2, comma 1/2. Now, number 4. What number, the absolute value of what number plus 2 is going to give me 8? Kyle?
6.
We're going to say that in the solution set can only be 6.
6 and negative 10.
6 and negative 10. So the absolute value of, so think about this. So what Robbie said, or what Kyle said, was the absolute value of 6, which is what number? 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. That is true. Now, Robbie, you said negative 10. What is the absolute value of negative 10? 10. What is 10 plus 2?
12.
12. How can we fix that?
Make it a negative 10, so it's negative
Nope.
8.
No. The absolute value of negative 10 is what number?
10.
10. So if you plug that into here, 10 plus 2 is not 8. 10 plus 2 is 12. I need to know.
Good morning.
Yes.
Is Kylie Cooper with you?
Yes.
There's something going on when she's available.
When she's available. Now, Miss Allison, I'm filming all day in my room today.
Filming?
Yes, I'm filming.
Okay.
I have to video all my lessons today, so can you send me a text if you need something?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, what number can we find the absolute value of, add it to 2, and get 8? We said one of them was 6. Reagan. Negative 6 is the other. Trying to get Robbie to understand why. We can't just say, yes, this is it. We need to understand why. So number 5. What number, the absolute value of what number plus 4 is going to give us 7? Xavion. 3 and negative 3. So the solution set is negative 3 and 3. Number 6. The absolute value of what number minus 10 gives us negative 3. Think about it. I have a solution of negative 3, and I want to know what number minus 10 gives us negative 3. Victoria. Victoria says 7. So the absolute value of 7 is 7. 7 minus 10 is negative 3. Okay, that works. Is there another one? Negative 7 as well. Now notice on all of my solution sets, just a reminder, the smaller number goes on the left, the larger number goes to the right. We always put our numbers in ascending order. Okay, so now with that being said, those are our basic things here. So let's look. So I want to show you this one. I want to give you this equation. 2p plus absolute value of 2p plus 5 equals 11. So we're saying that any time we have an absolute value equation, this is what needs to happen. Every one of those other problems had how many solutions? 2. So I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to break it into 2. I'm going to rewrite 2 equations from here. The 2 equations I'm going to write are this. 2p plus 5 equals 11 and 2p plus 5 equals negative 11. Why? Because whatever's in there could be negative, right? Whatever is in that absolute value as symbol can equal 11 or negative 11 because the absolute value of negative 11 is, of course, positive 11. So I take this, I break it into two equations. And so now if I look at this one, where it says 2p plus 5 equals 11, I can very easily solve this equation by subtracting 5 from both sides. So we have 2p is equal to 6, p is equal to 3. Come over here, subtract 5 from both sides. So 2p is equal to negative 16. Divide each side by 2. So p is equal to negative 8. So I now have two solutions. So p is equal to negative 8, 3. Now let's test them out to make sure that that is true. Let's test these out. So I want to plug 3 in for p. So the absolute value of 2 times 3 plus 5. This is the absolute value of 6 plus 5. What is 6 plus 5? Absolute value of 11 does equal 11. This checks, correct? Now when I come to this one, where I plugged in negative 8. Absolute value of 2 times 8. I'm sorry, 2 times negative 8 plus 5. So the absolute value of negative 16 plus 5. Negative 16 plus 5 is negative 11. The absolute value of negative 11 is 11. This checks. It makes sense. Let's do another one like that. Let's do the equation of absolute value of c minus 2 equals 6. The absolute value of c minus 2 equals 6. So again, just like I did the first time, I'm going to separate it and break it into two separate parts. So we have c minus 2 equals 6, and we have c minus 2 equals negative 6. Anytime I see this absolute value equation, those absolute value bars, I know I'm breaking into two equations. One is going to be positive, one is going to be negative. So now I'm going to break this, I'm going to actually solve each equation. So we add 2 to both sides. So c is equal to 8. Over here I add 2 to this side, and I have c is equal to negative 4. So my solution here, my solution set is negative 4, 8. How do I guarantee a correct answer? Check my work. So I'm going to say absolute value of 8 minus 2. That is the absolute value of 6, which does equal 6. That checks. Over here, the absolute value of negative 4 minus 2. That is negative 6, which is absolute value is 6. Not negative 6. All right. I'm going to give you some equations to work with a partner. I know they're hard, huh?
No.
Okay, how about we do negative 5.5 is equal to the absolute value of t plus 2. And number 8, let's do absolute value of 7d equals 14. How is 8 different than ones that I've been doing?
It doesn't plus some.
It's not a sum. Instead is a product that we're working for. So I'm going to give you just a couple minutes. Work with your partner. Talk it through. See what you can get out of here. I want you to work them out. What do I need to see on your paper first, do you think? I should see two equations. should see on your paper, dividing it into two, branch it off into two equations. Anyone check their work for number 7 yet? If you don't have number 7, you didn't write number 7 properly. That says negative 5.5 right there. Let me ask you something, because no one is seeming to notice it yet. The absolute value of 3 is? The absolute value of negative 4 is? The absolute value of negative 15 is? The absolute value of positive 24 is? The absolute value of negative 1,111. All the absolute values that every single one of you have told me is what kind of number? Positive. Look at number 7. Can any number, the result of an absolute value, be negative? No. So this is no solution. I need you guys to pick up on these things. You can't do anything about it. None of that is true. Because I cannot take any number, I don't care what kind of number it is, find the absolute value and that be a negative number. Negative 5.5 cannot be the solution to any absolute value.
What if it was negative 3.5?
Doesn't matter. It cannot be a negative on this side. The result, the solution to any absolute value must be positive. Cannot be negative. So number 8, did you get the same solution as me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. Let's try some more. Let's try this one by yourself. I gave you 2 more equations. I want you to try by yourself. That means no voices. same solutions as me for number 9?
Yes.
Continue working on number 10. This is an individual. I need to see it on paper, not your brain. I don't have one of those little tools like Pure Genius does on TV where they put this box over your head and they can look and see everything working. Did you get my solutions on number 10? Yes, Kylie.
This is number 10, no solution. Yeah, I got that also.
No, it's not.
It's not. Wait.
Because look at what's going on. What is the difference between number 10 and number 7?
Both of them are negative.
I asked what is the difference.
But the other one was 25.
So, to show you the difference in the two problems. Number 7
The solution of number 7 was equals 10 plus 2.
whatever it was. Whatever it was. And here's number 10. I want you to analyze these two problems. And I want you to figure out what is different between the two problems. What is different? I want you to have a discussion with your partner. I want you to figure out what is different. With your partner. Right, let's come back together. I want to know what is the difference between these two. So can someone share with us what did you and your partner discuss? No, that has nothing to do with it. That's being foolish. That has nothing to do with it. Savion.
It's when, like the solution of 10 plus x was a positive and it can't go back to being a negative.
Correct.
And 7 times d, like you had to solve it, and if it was a negative, it couldn't be correct, but it came out to be a positive. So, wait, no.
So you're on the right track. This one, this solution must be positive always, right? So a positive cannot equal a negative. But over here, on this second one, we're taking this absolute value, which must be a positive, multiplying it times a negative, which will always give us a negative solution.
That's what I...
It will always give, times -2 will always give us a negative solution. All right. Sit up, please. All right. So let's take a look at the graphs that I gave you. So I gave you some graphs. I gave you a piece of graph paper. A piece of graph paper. Piece of graph paper. So what I want to do first is I want to graph y is equal to the absolute value of x. I I want to graph on a coordinate plane y is equal to the absolute value of x. So in your notebook, I want to create a table of values. So I want to create a table of values. So I'm going to plug some numbers in for x, and I'm going to say -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So let me ask you, what is the absolute value of -2?
2.
What's the absolute value of -1? What's the absolute value of 0?
0.
What's the absolute value of 1? No, absolute value of 1.
1.
Absolute value of 2. 2. Now, I need you to make sure that you're very clear on the fact that absolute value does not mean opposite. I heard one person say it, and people make that same mistake every year. Absolute value is not opposite. It's the distance a number is from 0. So if I were to take these numbers and plot them on my graph, this is what happens. -2, 2, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. So then I take my straight edge and I go ahead and connect my points. And then I get a graph that looks like this.
This time I tell you how it is.
This is what we call our parent graph. This is our parent graph. Because this is the original. This is where it starts. This is your bottom of the line parent graph. This is what all graphs are then made from. So this is our parent graph. This is it right here. Now, remember, this is our parent graph. Parent graph, right? Okay. So at the top of your graph that you graph that on, make sure it's labeled y equals the absolute value of x. Please also write next to it parent graph. Parent, like your mom and your dad, your parent. So this is a parent graph, and absolute value equations look like a what letter? V. Absolute value results in a V. Absolute value results in a V. All right. So I want to do another graph. This time, I want to graph y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. Y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. Again, I'm going to create a table of values where I have an x and a y. I'm going to use the same exact x as I used before. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Please stop your conversation, boys. Now, what is -2 plus 2? 0. Absolute value of 0 is 0. What is -1 plus 2? 1. Absolute value of 1 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. The absolute value of 2 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. Absolute value of 3 is 3. 2 plus 2 is 4. Absolute value of 4 is 4. Going to graph this equation. -2, 0. -1, 1. 0, 2. 1, 3. 2, 4. This is only half of my graph. What do you think I need to do? I need to put some more numbers, but where do those numbers need to come from? They need to be negative. So I'm going to do -3, and I'm also going to graph -4. So if I plug in -3 for x, -3 plus 2 is -1. The absolute value of -1 is 1. Plug in -4 for x. -4 plus 2 is -2. Absolute value of -2 is 2. I want to plot these 2 points. -3, 1, -4, 2. Question before I go on. Does everyone know where I got those numbers from?
You got it from off the line, negative graph.
Right. Everybody understand where y came from, right?
Shouldn't it have been -1 and -2?
No. What is the absolute value of -1?
What?
1. What's the absolute value of -2?
2.
So since check mark, funny.
No,
So since the other ones be changed to negative, then
Kyle, what's the absolute value of 1? 1. What are you not understanding?
because you change a negative to a positive, but how you gonna say
Absolute value is not the opposite of a number. It is the distance a number is from 0. I have a feeling he wouldn't be struggling had all this conversation not been going on.
I wasn't even in that conversation.
I know you were not. But when people around you are having a conversation, it's hard for you to concentrate on what's going on. So now I want to take my straight edge, connect these points.
It's gonna be still be like a
So again, I still have a V graph, right? How did this graph change compared to my parent graph? Look at them both on your paper. How did they change? You didn't graph that properly. Victoria?
On the paragraph, it started like it was in the origin.
Okay, so the point of intersection was at the origin, okay? And this one moved to -2. Okay? I want to do another one just like this, except I'm just going to change some things up here. Okay, so this graph, I want to graph y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 4. And I'm just going to tell you, I know we're going to need some, I'm going to change our numbers around a little because I know what we need. So here's my x and y. So this time I'm going to do -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0. Now, Kyle, pay attention. What is -6 plus 4, class?
2, -2.
-2. What is the absolute value of -2? 2. -5 plus 4 gives us -1. Absolute value of -1. -4 plus 4? 0. Absolute value is 0. -3 plus 4 gives me
1.
1. What is the absolute value? What is the distance from 1 to 0? 1. -2 plus 4 is 2. What is the distance from 0 to 2? 2. -1 plus 4 is
3.
absolute value of 3. 0 plus 4 is 4. Absolute value of 4 is
4.
Sorry. Okay, so I want to take these points and I want to plot them. So I have -6, 2, -5, 1, -4, 0, -3, 1, -2, 2, -1, 3, and 0, 4. Again, we take our straight edge, we connect our points. So, what is the difference between this graph and our parent graph? It moved 4 points to the left. So when we had x plus 2, it moved 2 places to the left. When we have x plus 4, it moved 4 places to the left. What do you think would happen if I had x plus 6? It would move 6 places to the left. What if I had the absolute value of x plus 12. 12 places to the left. So can we write a statement that will tell me what to do to a graph that looks like that? What can my statement say? If I have x plus a number, what can you tell me will happen? It will move over which way? It will move left that many places. So we can make a statement that says when y equals x plus a number, the graph will move this many spaces to the left.
Move to the right.
What?
Move to the right.
Kyle thinks it's going to move to the right. Let's see if his conjecture, let's see if his hypothesis is true. So I want to go to another graph. It'll be the fourth one on that paper. So if I have y is equal to x minus 3, and I have x and y, let's do negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. Let's see if this works, if that's enough digits. So what is negative 3 minus 3?
0.
No. Negative 3 minus 3. Negative 6. What's the absolute value of negative 6? 6. Right? So negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. Absolute value of negative 5?
5.
Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Absolute value of negative 4. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Absolute value of negative 3. 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2. 2. Okay, so let's plot these points. Negative 3, 6. Negative 2, 5. Negative 1, 4. 0, 3. 1, 2. I'm not quite there yet. I need some more points. Okay, so let's do 2, 3, 4. All right, so 2 plus 3 is, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Absolute value of negative 1. 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. Absolute value of 0. 4 minus 3. 1. Absolute value of 1. 1. Plot those 2 points. Let's see. So 3, 2, 1. Oops. 3, 0, 4, 1. Again, I'm going to use my straight edge to connect my points. So, Kyle's hypothesis, conjecture in this, said when y equals the absolute value of x minus a number, the graph will move that number of spaces to the right.
Good job, Kyle. Good job.
All right. So we're saying when we have it inside that absolute value symbols, they're moving right or left. Now, ready to turn that paper over? We're going to test a couple of other things. So now, I want to graph this. We know what our parent graph looks like. We know what y equals absolute value of x looks like. So let's take this parent function, this next function. Y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. Y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 2. So I want to give you, I want to make a table just like I've been doing. See, we still make tables in Algebra 1, and we can keep making tables in Algebra 1 as long as it helps us out. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. We're going to see where we need to go from here. Okay, so together, what is the absolute value of -2? 2. 2 plus 2 is?
4.
What is the absolute value of -1? 1. 1 plus 2 is? Absolute value of 0? 0 plus 2 is? Absolute value of 1? 1 plus 2 is? Absolute value of 2? 2 plus 2 is?
4.
Okay, I want to graph this. So I have -2, 4, -1, 3, 0, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4. Take my straight edge, connect my points.
That was going up.
So what happened there?
It goes up
The parent.
2 spaces.
It went up 2 spaces. Okay, so when y is equal to the absolute value of x plus a number, the graph will move that number of spaces up.
And I propose the next one will go
And
down.
what do you propose the next one will say?
Go down.
If we do what?
Subtract.
If we subtract. So when, I know it's hard for you guys to see. So when y equals the absolute value of x minus a number, the graph will move the number of spaces down. Let's check it out. Let's test that theory.
I'm gonna write that down here.
So let's test our theory out. I've got to just delete this real quick. I didn't make enough graphs. Okay, so we have y is equal to the absolute value of x minus 3. So I want x, y. So -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So let's see. The absolute value of -2 is 2. 2 minus 3 is -1. Absolute value of -1 is 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. Absolute value of 0 is 0 minus 3 is -3. The absolute value of 1? 1 minus 3 is -2. Absolute value of 2? 2 minus 3 is -1. Let's check it out. I have -2, -1, -1, -2, 0, -3, 1, -2, 2, -1. So I want to take my straight edge. I want to connect my points. So Brandon said, hold on. Brandon said that if we subtract a number, our graph is going to move down that many. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, Kyle, what's the question?
Why was it supposed to be positive?
Y is supposed to be positive. No. Because the absolute value minus a certain number will give us a negative. Can give us a positive or a negative. All right. So it's what Brandon said true. He made a correct statement. So here's my next thing for you. What if this equation does this? What if my next equation looks like this? What if I say y is equal to the absolute value of x plus 3 minus 4? 4. What do you think is going to happen to this graph? Kyle?
We're gonna have 2 points of origin.
No. I want to take what we know. So I know that when I add a number inside the parenthesis, inside the absolute value, I move left or right. So in this case, I'm adding, so I'm going to move left. And when I have a number on the outside and I'm subtracting, I'm going to move down. So my origin is going to move left 3 and down 4. So I assume my origin is going to be right there. Let's test it.
Let's test it.
Negative 2, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. 0, 1, 2. It might not be enough numbers, but let's find out. Okay, so negative 2 plus 3 is 1. The absolute value of 1 is 1 minus 4 is 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Okay, so negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Absolute value of 2 is 2. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. 0 plus 3 is 3. The absolute value of 3 is 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. Absolute value of 4 is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Then we have 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 minus 4 gives me 1. Let me graph this real quick. So we have negative 2, negative 3, negative 1, negative 2, 0, 4. I'm sorry. Oh, this is negative 1, not negative 4, right? Good. 1, 0, and 2, 1. I don't have enough numbers. I need some more. Don't move. Don't move. I need some more numbers, so I need negative 3. Let me pull negative 3. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So negative 3, negative 4. I need another number. So negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Absolute value of negative 1 is 1. 1 minus 4 gives me, what is 1 minus 4? So negative 4, negative 3. This is where we started to go back up. So did I test properly? Did I test correctly?
Yes.
Yes, I did. Okay, so we are going to finish this tomorrow. No, we're not.